Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today, in this podcast, we will be discussing some of Aneta Galasca's recommendations to overcoming common challenges when applying to open calls. Aneta is an open call expert at FundingBox, the leading European facilitator of Cascade funding or EU grants. EU funding programs are a fantastic opportunity for startups to scale, innovate, and grow. However, the application process can be tricky, and many startups make avoidable mistakes. From submitting generic proposals to misunderstanding EU funding terms, these mistakes can cost some valuable opportunities. In this guide, you will walk through the most common challenges startups face when applying for EU open calls and offer practical solutions to help them succeed. Let's make sure you're fully prepared to take full advantage of what EU funding has to offer. Avoiding the pitfalls of EU open calls. When you spot an EU funding opportunity that could help your startup grow, it's tempting to dive right in. But if you don't approach the application process with care, you can easily run into some common mistakes that hurt your chances of success. From misaligned proposals to not understanding the rules, these pitfalls can trip us up if we're not careful. In this guide, we'll cover the challenges that startups often face and provide clear solutions to help them avoid them. 1. Not aligning our proposal with the open calls challenges. So, what is the problem with this? One of the most common mistakes is submitting a proposal that's too generic or doesn't directly address the challenges, problems that companies are invited to address or solve, outlined in the open call. If our project isn't closely aligned with the specific goals and needs of the funding program, it will likely be overlooked by evaluators. So, how can you solve this? Before you write anything, take the time to understand the open call's objectives. You need to focus on how your project can solve the specific problem they've identified. The more precisely you can demonstrate how your solution fits within the scope of the call, the stronger your proposal will be. Tailoring your idea to meet their needs will make all the difference. 2. Over-reliance on AI in our proposals. What's going wrong here? AI tools are great for brainstorming ideas, but if you rely on them too much, you risk submitting proposals that sound very similar to others. Evaluators are looking for originality, and if your submission is too generic, it won't stand out. So, how do we fix this? AI can definitely help you get started, but it's important to inject your own creativity, insights, and expertise into the proposal. You may use AI as a tool for polishing ideas, not for doing the whole thing. The more personal and unique you make your proposal, the better it will reflect your startup's true potential and innovation. 3. Spin-off from consortium partners. Sorry, but no. What's the issue here? Startups within a consortium, the partnership of organizations that work together to carry out a project, often want to apply for funding through a spin-off company. Unfortunately, this is generally not allowed because it can create conflict of interest or lead to improper allocation of funds. So, what are our options for solving this? If you are part of a consortium, it's crucial to understand that spin-off from consortium partners are typically ineligible to apply for the same funding. Instead, you can explore alternative funding opportunities for your spin-off or partner with other external entities not involved in the consortium. There are always other ways to access funding, and you can get creative in finding them, as long as you don't violate the funding rules. 4. Skipping the guide for applicants. So, what is the problem with this? It's easy to overlook the guide for applicants, but this is where most of the essential information is. If you skip this step, you end up wasting time asking questions that have already been answered or submitting incomplete applications. So, what's the best solution here? Before you start your proposal, you need to read the entire guide carefully. The eligibility criteria, required documents, and detailed instructions are all in there. Following the guide from the start will save you time and prevent mistakes. You will be less likely to miss important details if you stick to the rules right from the beginning. 5. Not understanding lump sum financing. What's going wrong here? Many startups aren't familiar with the concept of lump sum financing, which can lead to confusion about how funds are disbursed and how to manage them. So, how can you solve this? Lump sum financing is different from the reimbursement-based funding you might be used to. With lump sums, the EU provides a fixed amount of funding based on specific deliverables, not actual costs. You need to clearly define your project milestones and ensure you meet them in order to receive the funding. Understanding this model up front will help us manage our budget and milestones effectively. 6. Waiting until the last minute to submit. What's the issue here? It's tempting to wait until the last minute to submit your proposal, especially when you're juggling multiple tasks. But this often leads to rushed applications, mistakes, and missed deadlines. So, how do we fix this? Starting early is a key. Give yourself enough of time to write, revise, and refine your proposal. The more time you allow yourselves, the better the final product will be. You should also reach out with any questions well before the deadline. Waiting until the last minute only increases the pressure and could mean missing out on the opportunity. 7. Trying to submit extra documents via email. What's the issue here? Some startups believe they can send additional document by email after the proposal is submitted. Unfortunately, this isn't allowed, and it can lead to disqualification. So, what are our options for solving this? You must make sure that everything required is uploaded to the submission platform before you hit submit. If the guidelines say you need specific documents, you need to ensure they're all included in the submission package. Once you submit, it's usually too late to send anything by email. So, let's double-check that everything is in place and ready before submitting. So, to sum up what we discussed, to succeed at an EU open call, even the application can be challenging, but with the right approach, you can greatly maximize the chances of success. By aligning our proposal with the open call's challenges, following the guidelines carefully, and understanding the funding models, you can avoid common mistakes that startups often make. Let's take action today. Start by reviewing the open call you want to apply for. Make sure your proposal is aligned with the challenges, and follow the guidelines to the letter. The EU funding opportunities are there for the taking, but you need to be proactive, prepared, and precise in your approach. You've got this. Let's go for it. Good news. Applying for EU funding doesn't have to be overwhelming, and that's where OnePass by FundingBox comes in. OnePass is a powerful, user-friendly tool that allows startups to streamline their application process and facilitate the whole application process. Stay tuned. We'll soon be publishing an exciting and inspiring paper featuring interviews with our amazing beneficiaries. They'll share in more detail how the FSTP funding has impacted their companies and projects.